הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Well, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It is so nice to see all of you. Thank you for braving the weather, particularly the Florida weather, which changes. So it's the gamble that you take. It's pouring right now gamble, but should I leave the house gamble and presume that when I get to my destination, it will not be pouring at that spot. So thank you for not only coming to shul, but also daring your odds on rain or no rain. And I think that it's not raining, right? Isn't it not raining? It's not raining. It's because both myself and Cantor Muchnick are up here. Hello. Hello. Cantor Muchnick, hello. So we are both up here, and I think that the presence of the two of us up here might have held the rain.
At least to put an umbrella over us, yes.
Well, put an umbrella over us, or it's just lucky that it stopped raining. It's also possible, by the way, we have a guest in the congregation. There's another rabbi. His name is Rabbi Sheldon Ezring, and he's visiting us. He's here. It's possible there's another rabbi in here, so there are three clergy. It's possible that that's what made it. So thank you, Rabbi, for being here with us, and also for your power of maybe helping us bring the rain to a stop. So, Shabbat Shalom, I hope that you are releasing your week and beginning enjoying the beginnings of Shabbat, letting go of whatever work that we have done, and we are easing into our 25 hours of relaxation and family time and enjoying our challah and wine and rest. And of course, the idea that when Shabbat ends, clearly, not during Shabbat, but when Shabbat ends, the Olympics, which are happening miraculously, happening. So I'm an Olympics fan, a crazy Olympics fan. I watch almost every single event, and no matter what time it is. So, and sometimes at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll be watching Sweden play Croatia in some random sport, and my wife, who's sitting here, would be like, "Why are you awake? And what are you watching?" But it's Olympics. I love the Olympics. So we are going to begin our service officially after all this welcoming and hello and beautiful music to start. Make sure you have your siddur, your prayer book. Make sure it says Mishkan Tefillah on it. Make sure it says Shabbat on it. So you have the right one, so you can pray along and chant along. If you're joining us on the YouTube, hello, we are thrilled to have you. You can grab your virtual siddur if you want, cbiboca.org. Go to worship, go to Shabbat, and then scroll down a little bit to our virtual prayer book, and you can join us right along with the pages and everything for our service. We are going to continue now with the lighting of Shabbat candles, which can be found on page 2 in your siddur. And I'm going to call Lisa Keller, who happens to be sitting right here, my wife, to light Shabbat candles. Hey, thanks, Lisa. Are you in the picture? Hold on, I'm gonna do this. So we lit our Shabbat candles, and we have officially begun Shabbat. We have sanctified our space, and we are in Shabbat. I hope you can feel the change in the atmosphere already. We're going to continue sanctifying the Sabbath with Kiddush, with Kiddush. That is on page 4 and 5. Here, you got yours there? All right.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho me'ahava u'vratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי באנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל עמים ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Amen.
Now we have sanctified Shabbat through lighting of Shabbat candles, through our drinking of our Kiddush, our Kiddush wine. And so we get to continue now into Kabbalat Shabbat, into the official welcoming of Shabbat, the official welcoming ultimately of our Shabbat bride. But we're going to get to the bride in a second. We're going to prepare for her, and that is with Shiru Ladonai, Psalm 96, on page 13. We come to the pinnacle of our Kabbalat Shabbat service, which is when we invite the Shabbat bride into our midst to hang out with us, to give us that extra energy that it's believed that we actually get a second soul sometimes on these 25 hours, and that this bride represents this second soul for us, which makes everything sweeter and nicer, and the rest better, and the food better, and the wine better, and the study better. And so we are going to continue with Lecha Dodi, page 20. We'll be doing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And on verse 9, we'll be standing and facing the door to officially welcome our bride. Again, page 20, Lecha Dodi.
Shamor v'zachor b'diborecha ishmianu el hamilchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem u'tiferet v'lithilah Shabbat Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mekor haberacha Meirosh mikedem nesucha sof maseh b'machshava techila Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekamela
Shabbat Bride, paragraph number 9.
Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam v'simcha u'v'tzola toch emunei am segula
Please be seated. We now hold on to Kabbalat Shabbat. We now in our midst with the candles lit and the kiddush done, our wine, our sweet wine, adding to our Shabbat. We welcomed in our bride, and so now we are fully present in our Shabbat this evening. And so we're going to continue now with our evening service, with the part that connects us from Kabbalat Shabbat into our evening service, which is the great connector of all connectors, which is the Chatzi Kaddish, which can be found on page 26.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברך ירצה וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומייכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בגלה, בגלה, ובזמן קריב ויאמרו, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם לעולמי יתברך. יתברך וישתבח, מתפאר מתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו לילה, מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה. Ve'imru. Amen.
Baruch Hu, our call to worship, page 28. Together we stand.
Lai, 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 lai,
We remain standing and thank God for making day on page 31 at the top. Let's read that together. Top of page 31. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. We continue on the bottom of page 33, bottom of 33, and let's alternate paragraphs. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love in this holiest of your works, a living language that gives it form. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. 34:35.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kivod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed.
Please be seated. We continue V'ahavta, page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. Continue on the top of page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Micha Mocha on page 40.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה Adonai ימלוך לעולם ועד. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא עושה, נורא עושה פלא אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
We think of Hashkivenu as the sun goes down and provides for us this shelter as we sleep, that God provides this guardianship over us in our most vulnerable state. And so we are so thankful for that, that we can sleep tranquilly so that we can feel safe because that canopy covers us and takes care of us, that canopy of God that shelters us all. And so we continue with Hashkivenu, thanking and praising God for that canopy on page 42.
Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Ve'hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Ve'hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim Ushmor Tzeiteinu Uvoeinu Lechaim Shalom Me'ata ve'ad olam Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Ve'hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Ve'hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim Ushmor Tzeiteinu Uvoeinu Lechaim Shalom Me'ata ve'ad olam Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Ve'hamidenu Shomreinu
The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout the ages as a covenant for all time. And the word keep means for us to take care of and for us to connect with and for us to create Shabbat. And so I hope all of us find ways throughout these hours, now that we're officially in Shabbat, to make Shabbat, to make it different and special, something different than the rest of the week, something unique, something lovely. And so we thank God, we connect to God for creating this moment for us, these 25 hours of Shabbat every single week, a little tiny piece of paradise, our commentaries say. We continue with keeping the Shabbat with the Vishamru on page 44.
Vishamru Bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat Ledorotam Brit Olam Vishamru Bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat Dorotam Brit Olam Beini uvein Bnei Yisrael Oti le'olam Shabbat vayinafash v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת.
Continue now with the Amidah, page 46, and together we stand.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Ha'ibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים. ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We continue silently now from page 52 through page 62. When you are finished, please be seated. page 60.
Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rava Tasim leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom rava Yisrael amcha tasim. Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Betzol beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol leit ubechol sha'a bishlomecha. Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
I'm not sure if this happens to you, but it happens to me all the time. When I maybe haven't noticed something, but I notice it like for the first time, and then I notice it over and over and over again. It happened when we bought a Camry. It was our first like big purchase, and then I noticed, oh my God, everyone has a Camry. They're all over the place. I noticed when I buy like new running shoes, and I think, oh, they have the same running shoes as I do. I thought only I had those running shoes. It's just sort of like a nice connection. The biggest one was when we were in Israel, and we had our children with us, and we had a stroller. Israel doesn't believe in ramps down any sort of way, so you have to take the child out, and you have to take the stroller and then put the child back. They haven't thought of that. They're very technological, but not any sort of ramping system. But now I think of those things. So now I see ramp and I appreciate it. Now I see Toyotas everywhere. I actually own two Toyotas, and so I just started seeing things, and it sort of refreshes my memory on certain thoughts, and it just gets stuck in my head over and over and over, constantly noticing these things, and then I have a fresh view of them. And so for me, at least, you'll tell me if you agree, this week's Torah portion kind of does that for me. We look at something we've seen probably 1,000 times, but there's a fresh look at it. That's what we're going to be exploring for the next 50 to 60 minutes while I talk to you for my mini sermonette. It's in preparation for the high holidays, where I hope it'll be longer. Kenner Muchnick is losing consciousness. Okay, so he's like, please no, this is not possible. So, okay, this week's Torah portion is called Va'et Chanan, and it actually means to plead, because God is pleading, because it is still part of his 37-day-long speech. We're in the book of Deuteronomy, and it's a 37-day-long speech, and he knows that when he's done speaking, he's going to die. So he's giving a 37-day-long speech to the Israelites, feeding him every last bit of energy a good teacher / maybe father figure could give to his people. He's doing it. And he's pleading. And the pleading part, by the way, if you want to talk more about the pleading part and why the whole Torah portion opens with pleading, you have to come to Torah study, 9 o'clock on Zoom. So I'll leave you in suspense for that part. I can tell, by the way, even you're masked. You're very excited about joining us tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock for Zoom, to figure out exactly what I'm talking about, why there's pleading going on. So, 37-day-long speech, but here are the beginning of some things that you might know, but maybe look at with some fresh eyes. One is in this week's Torah portion, we talk about tzitzit, the fringes that we hang off of over our talit. So it's an interesting thing to talk about. It's sort of something we know, but we can refresh and talk about it, happening again tomorrow, 9 o'clock if you want to join us. The mezuzah, by the way. How many people have a mezuzah at their house? Thank you, excellent. So maybe now that you hear about it, when you walk by me, when's the last time you examined it, looked at it, touched it, noticed it? Maybe you have one in each room. Now I'm going to ask you on the Shabbat to refresh your view on what it means to have the words, some words of Torah on your doorpost. It's kind of refreshing. Also this week are the 10 Commandments. Commandments. A second time. We hear it one time in the book of Exodus. We hear it again here. They're a little different. So it's also asking you, Moses is asking you to refresh your view and look at the 10 Commandments because they're a little bit different than the 10 Commandments in the book of Exodus. But mostly I want us to refresh our view on something that we already looked at while we have been together at our service today. So I would like for you to turn back in your Siddur just for a second to page 34, 35, and 36. 34, 35, and 36. Turn back to those pages. I can see you. So if you're not doing it, I can see your thank you, Rita. You get a challah after services. All right, good. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Susan also gets one. Only Susan and Rita get challahs. Okay, so what are you looking at? What's on that page? What's on 34, 35, 36? Shema. All right, good. Shema v'ahavta. Okay. So this week's Torah portion not only has all those things I talked to you about, but also has the official Shema text is in this week's Torah portion. It's plucked from the Torah, this week's Torah portion, and put into the prayer book. And we know it mostly as a prayer, but it's from this week's Torah portion. Everything except for the one line. The line that says, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. So, Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Then we say, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto. That line, by the way, is not in the text. The rest of it is. So if you turn the page to 36, that first paragraph that you see, it's in the Torah. If you turn back to 34 and 35, Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, in the Torah, but not the Baruch Shem Kevod. It's not in the Torah. So I would like to, in this refreshing moment that we're in right now, I'd like to refresh our view, and maybe now every time you look at the Shema, every time you sit down and look at it, you'll think of this. And I did not make this up. This, someone much smarter than me made up this beautiful drash of a connection to why there's no sentence there. It's there in the prayer book, but it's not in the Torah. Here it is. Are you ready? And it requires you to participate. Here we go. So if you can think of Jacob, and I mean Jacob in the Bible, right? So Jacob had how many children? This is not rhetorical. I'm getting 7. I got 13. How many kids did Jacob have? I got 12, I got 13, and I got 7. One of you is correct. Happens to be my wife. Okay, so she's a Jewish educator, so it's a little cheating. But 13, he has 13 kids, he has 12 boys and a girl. named Dinah, his wife's name. Okay, so we don't know about Dinah, though, unfortunately, because no one talks about her, and it's unfortunate. But so he has 13 children. Okay, now more quiz time for you to move back a little bit. Okay, how many kids did Abraham have? I heard one, I heard two. How many kids did Abraham have? Two, I'm getting two over there. Yes, he had two sons. Abraham had two sons. What were his sons' names? Isaac and Ishmael. He had two sons, Isaac and Ishmael. Nice. Okay. Isaac. How many kids does, we have Isaac and Ishmael, right? Okay. Now, Isaac and Ishmael, good, nice. Now, Isaac, let's talk about Isaac for a second. How many kids does Isaac have? Who are Isaac's kids? Jacob and Esau. All right, good. So you notice there's a pattern. There are two, and then there are two, and then there are 11. Actually, there are 13. So there are two kids, right? So Abraham has two kids, and then Isaac has two kids, and then Jacob has 13 kids. He also had two wives. So we'll leave that for a whole other. He had 4 wives. Essentially, he had 2 wives, and well, no, we're not going to talk about it. All right. No one wants to hear that story right now. Okay, so here's the thing. Jacob has another name. Do we know Jacob's other name? Israel. So Jacob had 2 names. One of his names was Israel. So Jacob is on his deathbed. He's about to die. And he looks around at all of his children, all of his 13 beautiful children, and he thinks to himself, oh no. In my father's generation, in Isaac, half of the generation didn't really go in the direction of Judaism. So there was Isaac, right? And there was Ishmael, and it didn't really go in the direction of Judaism. Then he thinks of his generation and thinks, oh my gosh, I'm Jacob and Esau doesn't go in the direction of Judaism. So he's thinking to himself, oh my gosh, my father's generation and my generation, half of the generation doesn't follow. And I look at my 13 children, I think to myself, are half of my 13 children not going to follow Judaism? That is awful. That's so many kids who are not going to follow in this sort of path, if you will, this sort of biblical path, if you will. Don't put on your 2021 hat right now. The biblical path. And the kids say, listen to this, here it is, here's the moment. If you dozed off, come back. The kids say, remember Jacob's name is Israel, and the kids say, Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. They say to their father, don't worry, we all believe that God is one. We're all going to be okay. You don't have to worry, as he's dying. And he says, this is what the Midrash says, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. May God's name be forever and ever, essentially. And that is perhaps why the mystery exists of why Shema Ve'ahavta are in the Torah, but that one sentence is not in the Torah. And it's maybe because it was this interaction between Jacob and his children. I didn't write it, so if you don't like it, if you do like it, I wrote it. So here's the thing. It's about refreshing our view, this Torah portion. It's looking at something a little differently. Maybe it's noticing something and then refreshing and thinking it and changing the way that we look at something a little bit. And so Moses is pleading with us, pleading for us to try and do this on this Shabbat and on the Shabbatot now leading into the high holidays, for us to start doing this. And so I wish all of you a Shabbat filled with some refreshments, with some refreshing views, with some opportunities to maybe glance at something you've seen before, but give it a fresh perspective. Shabbat Shalom. If you want to hear the whole thing again, by the way, we'll probably talk about it at Torah study, 9 o'clock. Sorry, Cantor Muchnick. We are going to continue now with thinking of those in our community who are in need of healing, physical, emotional, or spiritual healing. If you want to start to head towards Mishaberach, it is on page 253 in your Siddur. Here at CBI, in our thoughts and prayers for healing body and soul, Debbie Bockenheimer, Chava Leah Bat Esther, Gary Bendel, Dvora Kenny Benson, Natalie Burke, Matthew Burke, Robin Burke, Belle Bloom, Marshall Cohen, Karen Coles, Chuck Curry, Adam Danton, Mark Davis, John Day, Jaden Deal, Anthony D. Giantommaso, Judith Dratler, Philip Dratler, Bobby Fitchman, Herbert Fitchman, Mark Fine, Janet Fortier, Paula Froh, Ian Stewart Fruman, Ellen Gartner, T. Joshua, Modise Gavin, E. Greenberg, Curtis Grodin, M. Hassan, Ellen Hedrick, Larry Horn, Paulette Howard, Stan Jacobson, Ira Kafka, Shirley Kafka, Gary Kane, Esther Rhoda Kaufman, Sarah Krifser, Stuart Kruger, Eric Kupferberg, Gloria Land, Susan Linder, Richard Levine, Rochelle Liebman, Sylvia Linder, Robin Lopato Hest, Michael McHale, Michael Medoff, Arnold Plotsky, Gloria Plotsky, Tripp, Ravenfeld, Ruth Raymond, Kathy Rebedu, David Baruch Ben Razel, Bobby Ross, Mark Rosenberg, Lexi Schlesinger, Mark Semerel, David Schwartz, Marcia Shapiro, Danielle Francis Shaw, Marcy Sherrill, Shmuel Ben Vita, Karen Silver, Robert Solomon, Diane Spiro, Frank Stadalis, Elisa Stavlo, Jordan Stein, Ken Tankus, Linda Viral, Claire Weiss, Barbara Werner, Tammy Werner, Vicky Wilson, Levi Yitzchak Ben Sura, Yehudit Bat Bluma, Aaron Rosenberg, Julie Cantor, Adria Rossman. To those names, we had any name that you would like to add at this time. We continue, Mishaberach, page 253.
Bless those in need of healing with refuge. renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
Few quick announcements. Again, tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock on Zoom, we'll be having our 9 o'clock service with Torah study. Hope that you can join us. There's a lot in the Torah portion. That might be a 7-hour service tomorrow, but you'll be in your house and you can have food. So looking forward to that. Also, you should have received some high holiday information. It is already out there, which means that we're having them. Even though we didn't really vote to have them, but they happen every year, so we thought we should. So, but they're happening and they're out there, and we hope that you have had a chance to read through everything and look at the details, and also see which service works for you. We're trying to be COVID friendly, but also be together and be in community, and so we're doing all that balance. We're happy to talk to you about it if you have any questions, of course. About that. Also, religious school registration is open, wide open. If you know anyone who is connected to religious school and needs help registering or has questions about it, please let us know. We are open, and it is we're excited about it. I guess we can probably tell you that we're going to have a special welcome back Shabbat. We don't have all the details yet, but on the 20th, the 20th is a Friday, so starting that weekend we'll have all kinds of stuff for you. We're not giving you the details yet because we don't have all the details. What's happening for sure that Friday night is we're going to be honoring Rachel Sherman, who is our brand new religious school director, the phenomenal and wonderful religious school director. And there's a lot more surprises, which we'll not tell you yet. We'll keep you in suspense for that.
Like with the Torah portion.
What's that?
With the Torah portion.
Like the Torah portion, exactly. So we're going to conclude our service right now with Aleinu and then Kaddish. Aleinu can be found on page 282, and together we stand.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, lateit gedula liyotze breshit, shelo asanu kigei aratzot, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני מלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
We transition now to Kaddish Yatom, to Mourner's Kaddish, and we mourn the passing of Russell Radke, husband of June Radke, father of Devin, Sabrina Radke, and grandfather of Stella and Dylan Radke. Funeral will be held this Sunday. You should have gotten an email about it. Also, we think of Sylvia Linder in the period of Shiva, in the period of Shloshim, Trudy Berzon, Dr. Harold Grossman, Melissa Schaffner, Ivan Posner, Conrad Weinach, and Anita Hoffer. And our yortzeits that occur for us on this Shabbat: Todd Kaplan, George Cohen, Nancy Davis, Stephen Dubov, Al Elias, May Findlay, Laura Foster, Ruben Gesture, Rose Glick, Michael Gordon, Arnold Grant, Stanley Hyman, Susan Hyman, Ethel Kirstein, Eugene Glickman, Allison Critch, Ruth Lipschutz, Cecile Mishkind, Saul Reich, David Rich, Donald Rich, Bernard Julius Rubinoff, Sivia Schwam, Lauren Sloan, Jeffrey Steele, Rose Cohen, Steinberg, Fanny Tashoff, Irma Tutman, Melissa Yasmin, Gail Uvis. To those names, we had any name that you would like to add at this time. Again, Moner's Kaddish 294. Yitkadal v'ikadash shmei Rabbah, b'amad divrach cherutei v'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chay dechol beit Israel, b'agala v'zman karev v'imru, Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam ulmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei l'kodesha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, Damiran ba'alma v'imru, Amen. He Shlomo Rabba min Shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, as together we say, Amen. Please be seated. We conclude our service with Tfilat HaDerech.
May we be blessed as we go on our way. May we be guided in peace. May we be blessed with health and joy. May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. May we be sheltered by the wings of peace. May we be kept in safety and in love. May grace and compassion find our way to every soul. May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen.
Adonai oz lamo iten, Adonai v'rech damo v'shalom. May God give strength unto our people. Continue to bless us with hope and strength and love and peace. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Shabbat shalom.